Hello, happy Friday and Friday's newsletter, which once in a while comes to you on Saturday. I hope that's okay. So it's another gorgeous summer day in Vermont, and I am seated on the concrete slab for the first cottage of our retreat, Kumari of the Woods. And some of you are aware of what we're doing. And what I wanted to speak to you about today comes from the wisdom of one of my clients. I have to say, sometimes I learn more from my women, my clients that I work with, and some men too, than I feel like I give them. You know, there's many, many pieces of inspiration, and I reflect often on what you all share with me, and I value that so much. So recently, one of my clients, a lovely person I care about so much, used the phrase that some of you might be familiar with, and she said, taking lemons in your life and making lemonade, which I'm sure you've heard about that. I know I have growing up. Making lemonade from lemons, which lemons can be very bitter, but when you turn it into lemonade, it's a refreshing, sweet drink, right? Any time of the year, especially in the summertime. So I wanted to say something about that this week in this video, and it's related to this beautiful land, this forest that I live in among the trees, and how I arrived here. And the vision that I hold alongside my son, for sure, who's my partner, but even my older son, my daughters, my younger son, you know, we have all found our roots here, but it hasn't been easy. So that's the story I want to share with you, this other piece of my life. So many of you know about my life partner who passed away in 2010, John Young. Amazing. Definitely my soulmate, possibly my twin flame. I felt so connected to John, and I felt like we each came into each other's lives at a time that we just needed each other. And it was incredibly sad when John passed on and transition, but I still feel him with me every single day, especially in this work that I do. But there's another person that had a really significant impact on my life that I want to say something about because it really involves my sense of place here at this retreat. I'm going to call him KV. Okay, I'm not going to say his real name. So KV entered my universe after John. I fell deeply in love with KV, and he fell deeply in love with me. It was kind of an unusual relationship. He did not live in Vermont. However, he saw me in a very special way. He said at the very beginning of our relationship that I was sattva. And sattva is that term in Sanskrit meaning purity and wisdom. He felt that I held this in my soul, this sense of purity. And he helped me. He really believed in me. He believed in my ability to heal, to counsel, to work with individuals in an extremely authentic and non-judgmental way, which I know is true, but he helped me believe in myself. The other thing that KV did was he purchased these almost 52 acres from a couple in our town, Stratford, Tracy and Bill. And I want to say Tracy, I have had communication with Tracy. She's still in town. She's just an amazingly wonderful person. And KV didn't live here full time. This was like vacation house to him, you know, but I did live here with my children. I did pay him rent, but he was incredibly generous and understanding if I struggled at times. I, as you know, was raising 5 children by myself. I think my oldest son was in college then, and Ben was in his technical college program. And what we discovered when we moved here to this forest and rented this house was that it held this amazing power over us, this amazing positive energy in our life. Our life as a family began to shift in a very positive direction. I know Ben could talk about this because he started an apprenticeship program with a remarkable person who mentored him and got him really to the place where he is now with a thriving heating and plumbing business, in this area. And for myself too, I was stepping slowly into my purpose in life. I was still teaching at a college, still raising children, but they too were able to attend some really great schools in this area. Dartmouth Hospital is really close. Dartmouth College is really close. My daughter, who needed some medical attention, it was just right there for us, and such an incredible transformation that she was able to go through in her life too. So many things open up. Well, that relationship ended, and it was not my choice. I knew that this person needed to move on, and he needed someone else in his life. And it was really painful. So those of you that I'm talking with now in this newsletter, maybe you've had breakups or losses that were not what you wanted, not what you expected. You wanted your life to be full and complete with that person, and they had other thoughts, right? So that happened to me. And I looked at my life at that time, and the first thing I wanted to do, honestly, I'm sharing this with all of you, is I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave this forest. I wanted to leave that lovely house because I had so many memories attached to that house, the parties we had, the cooking that KV did, which was incredible. So many things that I could remember that I just said, I need to get out of here. But my son Ben, who is such a rock, I want to say, in life and in my life, he really is just so rooted down. And he just looked at me and said, no, like this forest holds something for us. It holds this sense of place and these roots and this presence that we've been able to bring to it as a family. And we can move on. We can move on without KV, was his impression. He was absolutely 100% convinced that he wanted to buy this property. And it took me a while to navigate that. I'll also say that in numerology, I'm a number 5. My birthday is August 5th. I'm a number 5. If you know anything about numerology, you know that number 5s love change. So picking up roots, moving somewhere else, traveling, it's always a little bit on my radar. And I'm always willing to just lean into the change and create something new as an artist. And so it was a struggle for me to feel the same way as my son did. But all I needed to do is to remember the gifts that KV left me with, which was the gifts of believing in myself and believing in that transformation that I could support other people with, both in my counseling, my coaching work, my work at this college that I ended up leaving in order to do life coaching full-time and in order to develop this vision for Kumari of the Woods. KV gave me the name Kumari. In many cultures, you might know that people are born with a name and then they have a taken name. So they have a given name and a taken name. My given name is Patricia. My taken name is Kumari, and I put them together, Kumari, Patricia. Some people have said to me, well, KV hurt you. Why don't you just get rid of that name? Like it's going to remind you of him. But here is where we make the lemonade, okay? Yes, I was incredibly sad. I cried and cried. I could not understand why he had to leave my life. That's the lemons, the bitterness, the hurt, and the pain. How we take our pain forward in our life can become that lemonade. And that's what I decided to do. It's a choice that we all have. It's a painful choice. It's something we hope we never have to face when somebody leaves our life, whether they transition on through death or they decide to leave through a breakup or divorce, etc. It's painful. And how we witness that is exactly what my work is all about, supporting women on witnessing that pain and also moving forward, creating that new meaning and purpose in your life. For many obvious reasons, as you probably know now, my meaning and purpose is very much about this sense of place. Honestly, that's what my first book was about, Manifestations of Self Within Place. It was about me starting over with my 5 children after a difficult divorce in Vermont. Again, no bitterness, no judgment on my ex. I think he's a wonderful person. We were just not compatible, and it was time to move on. So if you've read my book, you know what that's about. Well, I need to write another book because this sense of place that I feel in these woods is so strong, and I'm so passionate about what we are developing in Kumari of the Woods. It's not just about building cottages, renting cottages. It's about creating this sense of place, a sense of belonging, a sense of healing your life. I guarantee the people who come here, when you make that choice to come, whether it's for a couple of days, a week, a month, it will be transformative. There is something so healing about this forest. I felt it. My son definitely felt it from the moment he got here. I had to let go of the discomfort and the loss of that relationship in order to open myself up to the beauty and the transformation that this place can hold for us. You know, our phase 2, which I hope will happen sooner than later, is to build a yurt, a 30-foot yurt down near the beginning entrance of the property, to hold daily yoga classes, meditation, maybe some silent retreats, maybe some other workshops around healing the body, mind, soul, maybe music, you know, maybe book readings by local authors in Vermont. The potential is just enormous. And being an artist and a creative person, I have now leaned into all the possibilities that this place offers. I am so grateful. I hold absolutely no grudges and no bitterness. I had the most remarkable relationship with KV. And I respect the fact that he had to move on. He wanted to move on. I think he's remarried now. I think he's very happy. We don't really communicate. But I feel his sense of energy once in a while in these woods. And I am so grateful that we made the decision to buy this property from KV. He was very generous. We worked with him on something that my son and I could afford. And I am so ready to open Kumari of the Woods to all of you. I hope you consider coming for a visit. But I wanted to share that story because it gives you another perspective on how much I love this forest, how much I really love being rooted in a sense of place and feeling connected. You know, even when I was with KV, we would take walks, and at the end of this road down here, this is the road or the driveway that the cottages, the all-season cottages, sit on. At the very end is something that on the map is called a clearing. It's not a big clearing. And that, from the very beginning, when I moved here and I rented the place from KV, I marked that place as my spot. Like, that is where I want to live. It's where I want to, you know, have my introverted alone time, my own art studio there. I know it's going to happen, because when you make these decisions and these choices in your life to let go of those lemons and that bitterness that's happened to you and the pain, and you let go of the regrets, and you stop asking yourself, like, why did this happen to me? Why did I lose this person? Once you can let go of that and you begin to look forward, and as KV would say, you cross over. I say that to the women I work with. You are going to cross over a bridge. And it is up to you what you take with you. You want to transform those lemons into the lemonade and cross over with less baggage. Leave those regrets and bitterness on the other side. And if you can do that, and often you need support of a life coach, a counselor, or somebody in your life to hold you accountable, kind of cheer you on. When you can do that, I guarantee that life will open up for you as well. Well, as always, I value you listening to my videos, watching my videos, reading my articles every Friday. Definitely communicate with me. I love to work with you. The women I work with are just remarkable. And I do have some men too that I work with. And I do believe that they already hold inside of themselves, just as all of you do. You hold that ability to move forward. And what a life coach can do is listen very intently to your story and help you cross over that bridge. We all need that kind of support in our lives. And I am so grateful that I'm doing this work now. I absolutely love it. So thank you again. Have a beautiful weekend ahead of you. And share it if you can, not just with yourself, but share it with somebody else in your life.